How many times have you heard college is the best 4 years of your life? And while that's been true for generation after generation, this generation will have a different view. The global pandemic has created a massive shift in what these years will look like. Virtual learning, contact tracing, and classes from inside your dorm, or even worse, your parents' house, have replaced community engagement, lecture halls, and parties. And if that's not enough, how seriously will colleges look at the high school grades of future college applicants? Courtney McAnuff, Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management at Rutgers University, and NBC News lead education correspondent, one of my favorites, Rehema Ellis, are going to try to help us figure this all out. But first, let's take a look at how this group is responding to the crisis. This fall, heading back to school will look very different as students and parents try to balance education, campus experiences, and safety. They're left questioning what their next steps should be.
I am both excited and nervous for this upcoming semester.
I often ask myself as a parent, what can I do? How can I continue to reassure her that everything is going to be okay?
According to recent tracking, fewer than 3% of colleges will be fully in person. Instead, the majority will combine in-person learning with some variant of virtual learning, with a quarter of colleges holding classes primarily online.
I'm really trying not to get bummed out that my classes, for the most part, are still online. Campus is just going to look a lot different with social distancing and everyone wearing masks.
Since volleyball is a fall sport, my season got postponed until the end of the calendar year.
Some schools, like Harvard, plan to allow only a portion of their students back to campus, but all classes will take place online. Other schools, like USC, have reversed their plans and have moved to mainly online classes, causing students to rethink their plans completely.
I'm taking a leave of absence this semester because as a biomedical engineering student, I believe that it's really important to get a hands-on education.
But the current outlook has not deterred most students' desire to return to school in some way.
Despite everything that has happened within the past 5 months, I'm really excited to return back to campus this fall because I get to see my friends, and although most of my courses are going to be online, I'm very grateful that I can attend some of them in person.
I'm looking forward to new experiences my sophomore year, like attending virtual club meetings.
And what about the high school class of 2021? Many find themselves caught in the unknown.
COVID-19 has affected my college search because I can't visit any of the colleges I want to go to, so I just have to apply blindly without knowing.
1 in 6 students who had planned to enroll at a full-time 4-year institution have changed their plans, with the average cost of a private 4-year college topping $30,000 a year. Many students and parents are wondering how to justify the cost.
University's expensive, and no matter how much they try, they cannot replicate all the experiences that the kids have outside of school on Zoom.
A lot of my friends and I are wondering if college is really worth all that money if we're just getting a partial experience.
If there is a silver lining in this situation, perhaps it can be found in students' resilience and positivity.
It is my senior year, so I'm excited to get back to school, and no matter what happens, I'll try and enjoy it and make the most of it.
Here we have a lot to dig into. So let's start with kids in college. Courtney, what are you hearing from parents and kids about why they're worried about returning to campus? What are the fears?
I'm sure they're very concerned because colleges are really designed to bring people together, to bring students together, whether they're in dorms or large lecture halls, student clubs. All those things are posing great concerns to families and parents now. And certainly safety of their children are paramount and the most important things for them to consider.
Rehema, you know, a lot of kids, as we just heard, are going to be going to class virtually. They're going to be online, whether that means they're staying home with their parents or maybe even returning to the dorms, but not in-person lectures. So what is the drawback to that?
Well, the drawback is that, as Courtney was saying, schools are designed for socializing, not for social distancing. And it's all about people being in contact. You learn as much from the classes you're in as the people that you're around. You learn how to become what you're going to become. And so that's a big drawback. And kids are looking forward to this. Think about being in high school. You can remember that time. And you're around your parents all the time, and you want that freedom that comes with leaving high school and your parents' home and going away to college. So there's a drawback in terms of that learning experience that I think a lot of people are wishing it weren't this way. Everybody wants to go into college. Parents certainly want them to. Kids certainly want to. And as Courtney knows for sure, the colleges and universities want kids on campus, but a lot of drawbacks in the fact they're not going to have that experience that their predecessors had or the upperclassmen and class women had.
Yeah, I think we have a lot more to dig into. We want to talk, too, about the high school students. So don't go away. More of our conversation and your questions answered right after this. Back now with more of our college conversation, answering your questions and concerns with Courtney McAnuff, Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management at Rutgers University, and NBC's lead education correspondent, Rehema Ellis. Okay, Courtney, let's talk finances. On average, families spend over $30,000 a year to send their kids to college. So how can schools this year, when many are just learning at home on a computer, justify that cost?
Well, this year has also been a perfect storm for many colleges. In the spring, most were forced to refund housing and dining charges. Those were unexpected. State universities such as Rutgers incurred a significant loss of state revenue. There are no state sales tax, income tax, property taxes are down. And as a result, the university also has had to retool to deliver online instructions. In our case, almost $50,000 for each classroom setup that was made. So those things combined with enhanced financial aid, because so many families are demonstrating need, that it's added significantly to the cost. And not to mention now, prepping the campuses for fall as a result of COVID, spacing out classrooms, and making the campus environment safe for everybody.
So we're all in a hard place. Courtney, let's talk about rising high school seniors right now, because many of whom were learning virtually, were distracted. We're having to do things that they've never done before. So will standardized testing and grades be looked at the same way they have in previous generations?
Well, I think this year is just as significant changes. Well, grades will always be looked at. I think most universities are looking pre-COVID at the work students did, and they're certainly going to look at post-COVID. But we all know that this was a very, very difficult year for schools as they switched online. SATs and ACTs exams are problematic for many students. They are unable to get to test sites, or test sites are not open adequately because of COVID. As a result, most universities are working around the SAT or ACT with some test optional practices. So I would suggest that you identify the 6 or 8 schools that you're interested in and understand what their test optional policies are for fall. But we all realize, over 365 admissions deans signed on to realize this is an exceptional year, and AP and IB and honors may not be the same, and we all have to come up with workarounds to help students.
Rehema, your son quickly is about to graduate. How is it different? This is affecting your family personally?
Yeah, it is, because I want him to get out of high school, because I want to get out of high school too. Feel like I'm going through this class with him. But it's one of the things that I'm thinking about, what Courtney was talking about in terms of the grades that they're going to be looking at. You know, he came out of the brick and mortar school in March and ended up in the dining room on his laptop trying to figure out what's this class, what's that class. And maintaining a focus becomes really hard. So it's good to hear, and I've been hearing from college advisors, that this last semester is not going to count as much as the previous 3 years.
Okay, well, Rehema and Courtney, thank you so much. And for more of your questions answered about college, go to today.com/school, and you can join me, Chanel, and Craig today at 3 p.m. Eastern for a classroom town hall on today.com/all-day.